let's talk about the best metal albums from every sub-genre. Now, I saw this video by Metal Trenches, another YouTuber, and I thought, that's a good idea. Let's steal that. Let's steal his invention and make it better. I'll pop his video down in the comments below so you can check his one out. But we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to give you what I think is the best of each subgenre, and also my personal favourites, because we all know the best doesn't mean your favourite. So, that's a nice little spin on things, rather than completely copying it. So, let's get started with a contentious genre, metalcore. You know, probably the biggest metal genre around at the moment, the 2010s or 2020s, I guess. You know, metalcore has just risen in popularity with loads and loads of bands, but the best on all the lists that I see around, and it's one of the bands that kind of started it, it's got to be Converge with Jane Doe, and I actually quite enjoyed this album. It's heavy, you know, it's got that hardcore mix in, which you want with metalcore, because it is kind of a mix of like hardcore, bit of punk, and bit of metal, all mixing together in a nice little cooking pot to give you metalcore, and Jane Doe is a perfect example of that. You know, it's heavier than a lot of the newer stuff, less catchy, less poppy, and I think, you know, it's pretty damn good. But my personal favourite is going to annoy all my fans, probably, because I love Avenged Sevenfold. I love Avenged Sevenfold, and Waking the Fallen is my personal favourite. I know. They went from metalcore on the first two albums into a more just heavy metal direction later on. I do prefer, like, Nightmare and City of Evil, but Waking the Fallen, there's just something about it. I love Matt Shadow's vocals on it. I love how sing-alongable it is. I know it's not quite as heavy, you know, as properly metalcore as Converge or some other bands, Dillinger Escape Plan or some other stuff like that, but I just like it more. What can I say? It's my personal favourite, Waking the Fallen. You know, critical acclaim, too damn good. So that it is for my pick. Next up, we'll go Deathcore then. It's a nice progression. Mixing in metalcore with a bit of death metal's aggression. A lot more breakdowns and stuff like that. The best, generally, is a little band called Suicide Silence with The Cleansing. Another band that kind of pioneered it. One of the early ones. I know them and Job for a Cowboy and some other bands like that. Were the first bands of that kind of style. And they do it really well. It's not a genre for me, I will say. It's not a genre that I love that much. The album's fine, it's fine. But it is considered the best. But my personal favourite is Infant Annihilator with the Battle of Yaldabaoth with the fucking orcs on the cover. I love this album. I think it's one of the deathcore albums I actually really like. The aggression throughout the whole thing. They're having so much fun on the album. I love how much fun they're having on the album. It doesn't take itself too seriously. They're just having a blast. And it's just, you know, it's fairly heavy, but also really fun. So, I like it. You know, guilty pleasure. I like it. Next up, we have thrash metal. Trash metal. Now, the obvious pick is Master of Puppets by Metallica. The absolute classic. You know, you got Battery, Master of Puppets, Sanitarium, Orion. Can't go wrong with it. It's on the top of a lot of people's lists for good reason. But my personal favourite is Vector with Terminal Redux. Holy shit. This almost progressive, technical thrash metal album is just otherworldly. It is like you're in a spaceship darting through the cosmos, and the technicality is insane, the solos are insane, the vocals are just like almost black metal-like. So I love it the best. I almost put Abzu here, but that does flirt more with black than it does thrash, so I'm sticking it to basics, and Vector's Terminal Redux is the winner. Next up is death metal. Now the best is a hard one. There's a lot of albums in contention with the best. Deicide's debut being one of them, Tomb of the Mutilated being another, but I feel like Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel is generally seen as the best. And, you know, songs like Chapel of Ghouls and stuff like that, it's easy to see why. It's an absolute classic, ferocious, old-school death metal album, and I love it. But my actual favourite, and my favourite death metal album of all time, is Death with Scream Bloody Gore. I love Scream Bloody Gore. Like, I love it. It's a bit more thrashy than a lot of the other death metal albums, but it's in that kind of Eaten Back to Life kind of way, but I adore it. I adore it. Evil Dead, you know? Sacrificial! God, that's too good. Every song on the album is memorable. Every song is headbangable. I bloody love it. Next up, melodic death metal. That's right, it gets its own little sub-category. Melodic death, very different to death metal, because it's got melody in it. Now, the favourite is a hard one. It's between Carcass's Heartwork and Slaughter of the Soul by At the Gates. They're generally seen as the best. I'll go with Heartwork at the moment because, again, it's the one that pioneered it and it's still absolutely phenomenal. And I like the album quite a lot. I prefer Necroticism. I will say I prefer Necroticism. I actually prefer Surgical Steel. But I think Heartwork's a banging album and Carcass is one of the best bands around. But it's not my favourite melodic death metal album. My favourite is In Flames with the Jester Race. I've always loved this album from a kid to now. Still a kid, just a bit bigger. I love the Jester Race. The melody in here is beautiful. December Flower. Just the best melodies you'll ever hear in your entire life are on this album. I'll always defend it. I think it's glorious. Heavy metal time! Yeah! Now, the best is generally seen as Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Love the album. Iron Maiden's the band that got me into metal. I think that album's fantastic. I prefer Power Slave. I prefer Peace of Mind. I prefer some other albums, but the album's still absolute 10 out of 10. I love some, not Somewhere in Time. I still love that, but I love Number of the Beast. But my favourite heavy metal album is Merciful Fate's Don't Break the Oath. This is just too good. It's heavy metal with shredding guitars, but with King Diamond's operatic vocals and the face paint, the corpse paint, and the ghoulish lyrics. I like it. The little ghouls. I love it. Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. Easily my favourite. Next up is sludge metal. Waiting for the Sludge. I Hate God with Take As Needed for the Pain. Often hailed as one of the best sludge metal albums around. You could also pick Acid Bath. When the kite string pops. There's quite a few you could pick for this. But my favourite is actually Mastodon's Remission. I know. I actually like Mastodon's Remission quite a bit. I feel like just the riffs on it. March of the Fire Ants, it just goes fucking hard. And I gotta rep some Mastodon on here. R.I.P. Brent. Next up is Doom Metal. Doom. I'm just gonna do Doom. I'm not gonna do Death Doom or Fear of Doom or any other subgenres. Just the main genre here. And obviously Paranoid by Black Sabbath is seen as the best. Absolute classic album. Amazing album. Got all the hits on. And also some underrated shit like Hand of Doom. Fairies Wear Boots. There's some good stuff on there, I think. And it's an absolute classic album, but it's not my favourite. No way near. My favourite is Call of the Wretched Sea by Ahab. Easily my favourite. This nautical Moby Dick tale where you're harpooning the white whale. It's just too good to pass up on. Like the splashing of the waves on the boat. I could talk about this album all day, and I have done in previous videos, so let's move on. Next up we have progressive metal. Now, often seen as the best is Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche. Absolute magnum opus in the prog metal sphere. Sprawling story, epic narrative, and I enjoy it, but come on, Opeth's my favourite band. Still Life by Opeth. Now, I'm picking Still Life because it's my favourite album of all time, with Call of the Wretched Sea, and the story in it. And again, another concept album. We've got two concepts for prog. How about that? It does Blackwater Park before Blackwater Park did it. It's the hipster. It's the hipster Blackwater Park. So I'm picking Still Life. I love it. I love the story about Melinda. Facing Melinda, the riff in that, so goddamn good. Serenity Painted Death. Ugh! Everything about it's 10 out of 10. Next up is new metal. Oh, Questy talking about new metal, boys. Now, the best is often seen as Slipknot's debut or Korn's debut. Either or, Slipknot or Korn. Take your pick. Both actually quite good. I quite like both those albums. But my favourite new metal album is System of a Down with System of a Down. That's right, the debut. Songs like Spiders, Sugar, Sweet Pea, stuff like that. I really enjoy the debut by System of a Down. I think it's underrated, and I think it's a phenomenal album, and it's just so weird and eclectic. You could mix it in with alternative metal, but I'm not going to talk about alternative metal. I'll mix that in with fucking new metal. So there you go. I love that album. Now on to power metal. Power metal, the best is seen as Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 2, which is a fantastic album. So is Part 1. If you have that at number 1 as well, no problems here. I think it's fantastic. But I'm going to go with another German band for my favourite, and that is Blind Guardian's Somewhere Far Beyond. Love this album. It's the mixing with the speed metal of the early days with the epic fantasy power metal they'll become, and this is just a nice mix of it all. And the song for Somewhere Far Beyond, just phenomenal. And the song, the Bard song, one of the best songs ever made. Love it. Symphonic metal time now. Nightwish, of course, with Once. I could put Oceanborn here, but I feel like Once gets more recognition and more plays than some of the others. So I'm going to go with Once. But Oceanborn's pretty close. Wishmaster's good. Nightwish has a lot. But it's not my favourite. My favourite is Epica with the Divine Conspiracy. I adore this album. Like, Simone's vocals is angelic. The epic songs like Chasing the Dragon, just, they move you. I love it. I love it. Beautiful Epica. Amazing. Black metal now, Questy's favourite. Good old black metal. Of course, Mayhem's De Mysterious Dom Satanas is here. Why would it not be? Everyone loves it. The TikTok kids love it. Your mum loves it. Your mum loved it black. Everyone loves it. But it's definitely not my favourite. I think it's a good album, but it's not my favourite. My favourite black metal album, of course, is Druk with Blood in Our Wells. Phenomenal album. You know, it's got that atmosphere in. It's got that kind of Burzimian vibe. Is that a thing now? It feels like I'm in a mountain range when this is playing. I just adore it. Love it. Next up is industrial metal. There's a couple of ones that could be best, but I feel like Mutter by Rammstein is often hailed as one of the best industrial metal albums. Godflesh's Street Cleaner could also be here. That's a very good one. Another heavy as fuck live. But my favourite is Fear Factory with Demanufacture. Always overlooked, always underrated, and one of the best. You know? Fear Factory, Demanufacture. Go give it more spins. Next up is Grindcore. And the obvious pick is Napalm Death with Scum, which I famously am not that big a fan of, but I much prefer Repulsion, Horrified. I feel like it's got more of a death metal edge. It's a bit more my taste than Scum is. I do like Napalm Death, and they're great live, but I like the more death metal stuff Napalm Death does. Sorry, Grindcore fans. Next up, folk metal. Folk metal. This one was hard to pick the best. There's not really a consensus of best, but Ensiferum's Debut always gets ranked really high, so I'm going to go with Ensiferum's Debut. Yari from Winter Sun on there. It's a great melodic death metal album. Well, I just ruined that, didn't I? I said folk, and I just said it's a great melodic. It's a great folk metal album. There you go, Questy. Good. It does have melodic death metal elements in. Anyway, brush past that little fuck up. My favourite is actually Nocturnal Mortem's The Voice of Steel. Now this is folk metal. Holy shit, the screams feel feral. The live setting, all the fur and shit, amazing. The black metal screams, just everything is just so goddamn good. The clanging of metal, now this feels folky. This feels like I'm about to go to fucking war, and I love it for that. Groove metal now. Of course, Pantera with Vulgar Display of Power. Easy pick. You know, easy pick. It's got to have dun 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 dun. Come on. But my favourite is actually Lamb of God with Ashes of the Wake. I know. I prefer Lamb of God's Ashes of the Wake. It has a darker mood. I feel like the songwriting's better, just in my opinion. Randy Blythe's vocals I like more on it. Sorry, I just think Ashes of the Wake is the best groove metal album, in Questy's opinion. Next and last but not least is Avant-garde. Now, trying to think the best Avant-garde album's quite hard. I'm going to go with Gorgoroth? No, I'm not. That's black metal. Gorguts with Obscura. I know I always mention this. Even though I don't like it. It's too chaotic, too hectic, too avant-garde for me. But people love it. So, you give it credit where credit's due. But my favourite is Arcturus with the Sham Mirrors. Absolute phenomenal album. Black metal with a space edge, with all these weird intricacies in. Very avant-garde. Not quite as avant-garde as La Masquerade Infernal, but close. And it's easily my favourite. So there you go. That is the best metal album and my favourite metal album from every single subgenre. Now there's going to be loads of subgenres I've missed off, like gothic metal, but I don't really care about that. And some other genres that people will mention. What about Black and Death? What about Death and Black? What about this and this? Fuck you, make your own list. So hopefully you had some fun with this list. Pop your own down below, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.